banning slavery. From 1865 right up until 1963, we actually had two Americas. You in the industrial Northeast and Midwest and some parts of in the West, everybody was pretty much treated the same, but you could go down to Deep South, and oh, whew, what a world that was. I took a trip in 1963 down south. I was only 10 years old. My brother and I are in Virginia. We see all these crazy people standing in line for a bubble of water across. So I see this bubbler. I don't read any sign. I just say, what's wrong with these idiots? Let's go get that water. We go over and start drinking water out of this bubble, and a guy comes up, a big redneck, grabs you by the neck, back of the neck, and says, hey, sonny, what the hell are you doing here? You get over with your kind. Don't be drinking water out of that bubbler. That's for so-and-so. And I learned that. Now, Michael, I say that Afro-Americans were treated rather shabbily up until 1964. We had the Civil Rights Act. Women couldn't vote forever until, I forget the date, but 1920.
Foreigners could vote before us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Foreigners could vote. Boy, Jennifer, you're on top of the game tonight. You might have showed up late before you were in there now. We got a subject Jennifer likes. Was society right not to give women the right to vote and to keep Afro-Americans? And I'm just curious because
absolutely not.
Okay.
Denying anybody the right to vote it's just flatly undemocratic. And within the utilitarian system, let's say, Bentham and Mill stressed that it's not the will, it's not the greatest good for the dominant class. It's the greatest good for everybody. And when you look at the suffering that the women and African Americans had to go through until they were granted the right to vote, the pleasure they would gain from having the right to vote far outweighs whatever societal dismay that may cause. And with Kant's moral theory, it's just simply immoral to deny anybody participation in any government whatsoever.
Okay. So we're going once or twice. Anybody else with a final comment or question?
England used to have the first for women to allow the women to vote, but was with some limit. So you have to be married, you have to be this age, or something like that. And after that, when they vote, was only one lady that was with all this parameter, with all this. You have to be from this family. There
right.
was the caste and everything.
Sure.
So let's say that.
So when I mentioned, the bubblers down south, bubblers for whites and a water fountain for Afro-Americans, I went to a little restaurant, a little diner. We walked in the front door, and I saw a sign over here, blacks over here, you eat here. The Supreme Court of the United States, in a case called Plessy versus Ferguson, had said it was okay to have separate but equal facilities in this country. So Michael's done a pretty good job for laying out for us philosophy, values, ethics compared to the law, and how sometimes it takes us a long time to get to it. So let's take Dr. Martin Luther King. He crosses a bridge in Alabama, and they beat everybody up. But nobody cares, because when they crossed that bridge that day, the only people crossing that bridge the first time were Afro-Americans. They got beat up, rained on with fire hoses, dogs attacked them, tear gas, but somebody filmed it and put it all over the news. And now when Mr. and Mrs. America saw the pain, the real pain, the next time they crossed the bridge, Jewish people with them, Muslims with them, ministers with them, Mr. and Mrs. White America with them. There were so many people on that bridge, they couldn't keep them. Guess what? When they got ready to cross that bridge, nobody messed with them because the cameras were still rolling. So it was civil rights had a lot to do with the pain becoming, as Michael says, that pain becoming evident to people, that they decided it may be legal to act that way because we don't have any law right now that says it can't, but it's immoral and it's unethical, and we got to do something about it. So I told you, my career, believe me, the sun's setting. My best answer has always been for my boss at any job I've ever asked, when he asked me or she asked me if I was a loyal employee, I said, I'll be a loyal employee as long as you never ask me to do the following: anything illegal, anything unethical, and anything immoral. If you can agree to those standards, then I'm with you. But if you want to break the law, if you want to do anything unethical, if you want to do anything immoral, you can count me out because I'm not going to be with you. So I think sometimes the law is one thing, above that you've got ethics, and I think above that you have morality. Michael, I'm going to give you a bow, my friend. Wonderful job. All right, that was well done. That was a first-class presentation. Now, I don't know if I can still see it, so I want you to see if you can send me the separate presentation as a PowerPoint rather than through Google Docs. Because Google Docs is not my cup of tea. I also would like the name of your principal at your high school, whoever that is, and the mailing address, because I'd like to get a letter sent from the college to Catholic Memorial High School about your visit, and I'll provide, if you'll give me your mailing address. I'm old school, Michael, I like to use snail mail. I'll have a copy of that letter sent to your house, okay? And then if you could send me a little bit of the video tonight of your visit, I'd like to put it on LinkedIn to let people know that tonight you came to Quincy College and give us a little talk.
Okay.
All right, we all set? Well, Michael, thank you, everybody.